We're recording awesomeness. Ni hao. Hello. Wujao Stephanie. I think I interpreted that as I am Stephanie, and I think it's I am introducing myself as Stephanie. I don't know the exact interpretation. It's basically like, yo, my name. My name is this. All right, so I have been deep down dirty in serious language learning issues lately. Language pain, shall we call it. And I wanted to do a lighter video, and I wanted to do a shorter video because I've been doing the longer ones again, which I really enjoy doing. But I think what 5-Minute June has taught me is that I need a mix of short and long, not just long 20-minute videos, because I don't think I want to give those up. I really know that I don't want to give those up. So what is this video? It's the 5 main things I have learned by being a YouTube language learning vlogger over the past, is it really 1.5 years, guys? Seriously? We just reached 11,000 views, so this is kind of my celebration for 11,000 views. All right, so 1, my background is my co-host. Seriously, right now it's raining like crazy and I'm not going outside, so my background is very hypocritically boring as shit. But normally I will try to get something interesting behind me while I'm talking so you can see where I am, which is connected to what I'm learning, which is the language itself. When I say I want to learn to read the Chinese language more so than speak, it's not that I'm saying I don't want to talk to people. It's saying I want to see their ideas after they're super thought out and put on paper. But it's still people's creations. So I just wanted to clarify that bit. But the most important bit is that people and things in the country of the language I'm learning are behind me because I live in Shanghai, China. And so I love being able to talk to you while I'm outside somewhere or inside somewhere, but not just with the plain blue background. Number 2, YouTube language learning vloggers are the reason why I started this channel. They are what I would just term very curious people. Their motivations for learning languages and their analysis of what they're doing, and I'm saying they because I don't think I'm up to the level of the people that inspired me yet. I hope to get there someday, but seriously, the people that I was watching when I was just looking for materials to learn Chinese, their analysis of what they were learning, their humor, them breaking down the language and talking about quirky moments and different things that they were doing about their language learning was so inspiring that it led me down this whole path to try to do something of what they're doing, but with my own twist. But generally speaking, their curiosity and their analysis of what they're learning is not just in this little box of language learning. It ventures out into other areas. And it's very interesting when the language learning vloggers start talking about other things that they're working on, because that sense of curiosity branches out into those areas, because you can't hold a curious person in, people. I think I'm going to include myself in that. We are unstoppably curious. Yeah, I say oftentimes the S in Stephanie is for share, and I also, in thinking of a Chinese name, if I ever need to have one in the future, I really want to have Ma, like horse, but also like question. I want to have that in my name because I've always asked a lot of questions and it has annoyed the shit out of tons of people. But the people it hasn't annoyed and the people that answer and also ask, we get along really well. Curious people I find very, very fascinating. And YouTube language learning vloggers specifically are very curious people. And I appreciate you guys so much. Number 3, Number 3, I did not realize how different the sounds of my language are. And this is a crossover between not just this YouTube channel, but my podcast, and having to listen and edit on my podcast, edit out a lot out. Do you hear that? And having to edit and or watch and listen to my own sounds. I've noticed so many things that I didn't realize I was even doing. I assume if I say something and people look at me weird that because of my language shame, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time on in this video, I figured that I'm unintelligible. I have come to learn that is not necessarily the case. But what I've noticed on the fun side is that, damn, I have Canadian vowels a lot of times. Where the hell did that come from? I grew up in New York and Pennsylvania, which is relatively close to Canada. But honestly, I wonder if it's because there's a lot of Canadian English teachers in Northeast Asia, and I've worked with a lot of them, and I've hung out with a lot of them. I wonder if I picked that up. Do you ever talk to people who don't have the same common language as you, but you're using a language to talk to each other, and eventually, like after a few minutes, you start to pick up some of their sounds? Did I do that? I don't know. Also, when I was doing an interview with James from 4C's One Family last year, it really, really rung true to me that not only my phonemes, my individual sounds were weird, different, but my intonation is freaking quirky. It's not typical American intonation. It's not foreigner, completely European language intonation. So it's some sort of blend between what my parents were using, because they were immigrants like 50 years ago, but people still call them immigrants because we're that prejudiced. But we're not getting serious. Okay, look, it's some sort of middle ground between their intonation and typical American English intonation. And it doesn't come out all the time. And I've had a lot of practice on normalizing my language, being a language teacher and all those kinds of things. But there are moments when I'm really, really just off and being me and communicating, and my intonation gets weird. So when I was doing this interview with James, he was interviewing me, which was really fun. Confidence. Okay, so when that was happening, and he's very meticulous about his, that's so Canadian. I'm not Canadian, but there it is. Anyway, when he was editing out some of my stuff in front of me, he was like, oh, okay, this phrase sounds weird. Can you say it normally? And I was like, what the hell do you mean normal? I'm like, that's me. And for me, I felt like that phrase that I was saying, and I don't even remember the phrase, but I remember thinking, that's when I was really, really, really describing something important about expat life, or something I was really passionate about. And that's when my personality was really coming through in the language. And so when he said, oh, can you say that? I don't even think he said normally, but I think he said, I think you need to redo this part. It sounds different. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not sure I understand why it sounds different to you, but that's me. Like, I'm fully coming out as me. I am that whatever language amalgamation I am in my composition. It's in that moment. Like, that was me being fully expressive, and I was like, no, podcasting is the one realm that I will not clean myself up. I will not standardize my English. I was understandable, so I was like, no, that's me. And I kind of held my ground a little bit. And he didn't press. He's not that guy. James is awesome. You should go listen to his podcast. It's very, very cool. But it definitely made me think, oh, okay, my intonation's not standard. I can standardize it because I've had a lot of training in it. But there's a lot of moments when stuff comes out of my mouth and it doesn't sound normal. Number 4, I saw a meme recently. I keep talking about it, but it's that introverts think before they speak, extroverts speak to think. And had I known this when I was in my 20s, I think I could have saved a lot of time. But I know it now, and man, oh man, is it ringing true. I think a lot of my videos are just so I can get to the last minute and understand what I need to say that day, what I need to study that day, what I need to think that day, what I want to think about. Freaking about. Number 5 is super silly, but it's really important, guys. When you're vlogging, especially when you're close to 50 and you're aging in front of the camera, this is really hard to ignore. My hair has always been weird, wavy, whatever. I tried straightening it in Thailand years and years ago. Not tried, I did. I straightened it. And every single day I knew exactly what my hair was going to look like. It was stick straight. And for 6 months of my life, I was more bored with my appearance than can ever be described. it is very apparent after a year and a half of filming this hair, which is another co-host, that wow, it has its own personality. From day to day, I really truly don't know what I'm going to look like from hour to hour, from humidity level to humidity level. And it's hard to ignore because this is a visual medium. And I'm trying to focus on the language that I'm learning and conveying meaning to you about my process so that I can come back later and take parts of this and try to help others learn languages if they struggle like I do in picking up a second language. But it's a visual medium, and it's hard to ignore that this thing has a life of its own. And you know, quickly approaching, no, being firmly in middle age, just ponytailing it every day feels very unglamorous. So yeah, I don't know. This thing on my head has its own life. I'm not going to straighten it again. That was awful. That was really awful. That felt like what was that? Groundhog Day. When I straightened my hair, it felt like Groundhog Day. It felt like I was living the same day over and over and over and over. So I embrace the madness that is this, but I am keenly aware of how different and how weird my hair looks sometimes. And then other times, how great it looks. But I can never replicate those moments consciously. It just doesn't happen. This thing on my head has its own life. Those are the top 5 things that I think I've learned over the past year and a half. Some of them are serious. Some of them really surprised me, and some of them are very, very shallow. But there they are. 15 things. Less than 20 minutes. We're going to end this video now. Thank you for watching.